Imagine a world without symbols, a world where cunning has no face, wisdom has no eyes, and courage has no mane. But since ancient times, people have assigned human traits to animals. This is how legends, myths, fables, and fairy tales were born. What is fascinating is that most of these symbols did not appear by accident. They originated in specific countries and cultures where these animals lived side by side with humans. People observed their behavior, invented stories about them, and eventually turned them into symbols that spread across the entire world. Today, we will explore 10 animals that became symbols of human qualities, discover where these associations came from, and learn in which countries these animals are most common today. Fox, cunning. The fox is perhaps the most famous symbol of cunning in human history. This image originated independently in several regions, but became especially popular in Europe, China, Korea, and Japan. In medieval Europe, foxes often stole chickens from villages. Farmers saw how cleverly they avoided traps and began telling stories about them. One of the most famous collections was the medieval tales of Reynard the Fox, where the fox constantly deceived stronger animals. In Japan, foxes known as kitsune became legendary creatures capable of transforming into humans and tricking people. Today, red foxes are widespread across Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Poland, Russia, China, and Japan. Thus, the symbol of cunning was born from centuries of observing one of nature's greatest survivors. Owl, wisdom. The owl became a symbol of wisdom in ancient Greece more than 2,500 years ago. The goddess Athena, the patron of wisdom and strategy, was often depicted with an owl sitting on her shoulder. Ancient Greeks believed that because owls could see in darkness, they possessed knowledge hidden from ordinary people. This idea later spread throughout Europe and eventually around the world. Today, large owl populations are found in Canada, Russia, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and the United States. Ironically, modern science has shown that owls are not exceptionally intelligent compared to many other birds, but their reputation has survived for millennia. Lion, courage and power. The lion became a symbol of kingship thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Persia, and India. Ancient rulers admired the lion's appearance. Its mane resembled a crown, and its roar could be heard from kilometers away. Because of this, lions appeared on royal banners, thrones, shields, and monuments. Today, wild lions are found mainly in Tanzania, Kenya, Botswana, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and a small protected population in India. Although lions no longer live across most of the territories where they became symbols, they remain the ultimate image of courage and authority. Wolf, freedom and independence. The image of the wolf originated among northern peoples of Europe, Siberia, and North America. Ancient tribes often saw wolves crossing enormous distances through forests and mountains. As a result, wolves became symbols of freedom, survival, and independence. However, modern biologists discovered something surprising. Wolves are not solitary creatures at all. They live in highly organized family groups and cooperate constantly. Today, the largest wolf populations live in Canada, Alaska, Russia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and parts of Eastern Europe. The symbol of independence was actually created by one of nature's most family-oriented predators. Dog, loyalty. Dogs became symbols of loyalty because they were humanity's first domesticated animal. This relationship began approximately 15,000 to 30,000 years ago. Ancient hunters noticed that dogs protected camps, helped with hunting, and stayed with humans even during difficult times. Stories about faithful dogs appeared in ancient Greece, China, Japan, and the Middle East. Today, dogs live alongside humans in virtually every country on Earth. No other animal has spent as much time building trust with humanity. Donkey. Stubbornness. The association between donkeys and stubbornness originated in the Middle East, North Africa, and Southern Europe. For thousands of years, farmers used donkeys to transport goods. Unlike horses, donkeys often refused to move if they sensed danger. People interpreted this as stubbornness. In reality, donkeys simply evaluate risks more carefully than horses. Large donkey populations can still be found in Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, India, Pakistan, and Mexico. Their reputation may be unfair, but it has survived for centuries. Peacock. Vanity. The peacock became a symbol of vanity in ancient India, where the bird originated. Its enormous, colorful tail fascinated people for thousands of years. Later, when peacocks were brought to Persia, Greece, and Rome, they became associated with wealth and luxury. Because peacocks constantly display their feathers during courtship, people interpreted this behavior as pride and self-admiration. Today, wild peacocks are most common in India and Sri Lanka. India even chose the peacock as its national bird. Ant. Hard work. The ant became a symbol of hard work thanks largely to ancient Greek fables written by Aesop. One of his most famous stories was The Ant and the Grasshopper. In the tale, the ant works throughout the summer while the grasshopper wastes time. When winter arrives, only the ant is prepared. This story spread throughout Europe and eventually became one of the world's best-known moral lessons. Ants can be found on every continent except Antarctica. Countries with especially large ant diversity include Brazil, Australia, Indonesia, Mexico, and Colombia. Snake. Deception. The snake became associated with deception largely because of ancient religious stories. The most famous example comes from the biblical story of the Garden of Eden, where a serpent persuades Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. However, many ancient civilizations viewed snakes very differently. In ancient Egypt, they symbolized protection. In India, they represented divine power. In ancient Greece, they became symbols of medicine and healing. Today, countries with the greatest snake diversity include Brazil, India, Australia, Indonesia, and Mexico. Perhaps no other animal has received such contradictory symbolism. Bee. Teamwork and diligence. The bee became a symbol of organized labor in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. People were amazed by how thousands of bees could work together to maintain a hive. Some ancient rulers even used bees as symbols of an ideal society. Modern science has only strengthened this reputation. Bee colonies communicate, divide tasks, protect one another, and function with extraordinary efficiency. Large bee populations exist worldwide, especially in China, India, Argentina, Turkey, and the United States. Why do humans assign their own traits to animals? The answer lies deep within human psychology. Our brains constantly search for familiar patterns. When we observe animals, we instinctively compare them to ourselves. A clever hunting strategy becomes cunning. A beautiful display becomes vanity. Group cooperation becomes teamwork. This process is called anthropomorphism, the tendency to assign human characteristics to non-human beings. The truth is that most of these animals are far more complex than the labels we give them. Foxes are not necessarily deceptive. Owls are not the wisest creatures. Donkeys are not truly stubborn. Yet these symbols became so powerful that they shaped entire cultures. And perhaps the most surprising thing is this: when humans describe animals, they are often describing themselves. Which of these animals best represents you? Write your answer in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories about history, nature, and the strange ways humans understand the world.